Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and I want to welcome you to Management 218, Corporate Finance, offered by Harper College. This is going to be your orientation for this fully online class. It's 24/7. That means we don't meet anywhere. We're always online. The classes, it's either going to be in a traditional 16-week course. I teach in a 12-week course. I teach in an 8-week course, and also teach in a 6-week course. Same materials covered that you do in 16 weeks. We just condense a little bit more. You have a little less time. Uh, yeah, let's just say condense it. Yeah, remember, you have to cover the same material as a 16-week course as you would in a 6-week class, because this class is a transferable class and it gives you the same credit hour. That means you're at least exposed to the material. This is an introduction class to finance. Most of you already have your accounting 101 and 102 behind you and intro to business. So now with this, the finance will be the next step. In this one, we're going to do some math. You're going to be doing some math. You're going to be utilizing the software from the publisher. And you're also going to be doing, my whole focus on this introduction to finance class is for you to learn the concepts and the vocabulary. The math portions, you'll do the math through the software that comes with Pearson, MyLab Pearson. I'm not too worried about that. It's a continuation of what you've learned from accounting. The problem I found out is a lot of people have done all the math part, but they still can't make the connection between the different concepts or the different vocabulary. How does that mean when it ties in into the finance, when you start looking at a finance for the company? All right, so I'm going to open up, let's see, I think I already got it open up here. I'm in my Blackboard shell here. So those of you who aren't familiar, you're going to your Blackboard. It's a late start class. You already know Blackboard. If you're taking finance, you're not a brand new student here, unless you're a transfer student just coming in here to take this as an elective class. Now remember, everything I'm covering here, I'm going to be using an 8-week class. So the only thing that changes is the workload. But you can still do the same homework. You're going to still have the same mechanism when in Blackboard, my YouTubes, my concept maps, everything's going to be there. You're going to be using the quizzes and the homework assignment from MyLab. That's the software that comes with the book. When you have to buy the book, you have to buy the e-book with the software. Some students like to have the hard copy. They have another option for another $100. You get the hard copy e-book and the what do you call it? The MyLab software access code. Or you could just buy for the, and I'll show you when I open up the syllabi. Or you could just buy the what do we call it? The e-book with my lab access code. It'd be more of the cost-effective way to do it. Okay, so you're going to come into your class. Now this class here is for this semester. So don't worry about the semester. This is an orientation. I'll keep it the same unless I change something in how I deliver the course. So we're going to go on this one. It's going to be in spring. And you're going to notice in here, you got my smiley face. You're required to log in 3 times a day to check in the discussion board. Do not, if you've never taken a fully online class or a web class or even 16, 8, or 12 weeks, you cannot do it all in one day. You have to do it a little every day. That's my recommendation. Do the reading, do everything. And the way I set up the course, I've been teaching this class for a while. I understand it's a new, learning a new language, additional language that you learn from accounting, but now you're connecting the dots or to see the different funding centers coming in. So what I would recommend is well, let me go in here. Okay, so let me show you. So you're in here first. This is my class. I'm going to go into the student mode. And this way, because this is what you see. You always see my face. You know, you're in there. You've got the class, the announcement. This is where you're going to see the online orientation. Here's where your syllabi. I'm going to go through the syllabi on that. Here's some information about me. This Blackboard Collaborate. Every week, I'm going to send you a quick message with Blackboard Collaborate. It's kind of like a WebEx or a Zoom platform. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's real easy. I don't have to upload it into YouTube or anything else. I could just go in here and say, here's how you're doing. Instead of me writing you a whole page, which a lot of students don't like reading, I could say, hey, you done well this week. Here's where we're coming next week. And those are going to be like 5-10 minutes. Okay? Remember, I have for each chapter, I have my lecture with the concept maps. Okay, so you have that. Now, always check your calendar. I'm not going to click on this. You can do it on yourself. You're adults, or you've already been in Blackboard, so I'm not reinventing the wheel. Some of you, well, let's not assume, all right? So you had the calendar. In the calendar, you could just see the work that's required in my class, or you can see the works required in other classes. You could filter it just for my class or all the classes you got at the same time. So you kind of don't become late on your homework. Okay, grades. Always check your grades. You're going to see a running total. You're going to see A, B, and C, and then you're going to see a percentage or points. Because some of the points may change, depends how I have to adjust it going forward, but it's always going to be, from 90 to 100 is an A, from 80 to 90 to B, and so forth. The running total, that's your percentage you're looking at, okay? Okay, now you're going to have your weekly assignments here. Everything you want, one-stop shopping is going to be right in here. But some students like to go ahead or do other stuff. You could also go to my finance lab directly, and you'll get all the homework. When you click on the first week's finance, my lab homework and quiz, the first time you click on it, it's going to ask you for the access code that you received. Whether if you purchase it through Harper bookstore, you'll get cards. They'll have that information. If they send it to you through email, they'll send you an access code. First time you click on that access code you put in, then this course, Blackboard course, is paired with my lab, Pearson's My Lab. That's their software. So it's outside of the Blackboard, outside of Harper College, and it's in their platform there, and that's what you can do in the homework. And when you finish the homework, the way it's set up, since it's paired, the grades will come back into Blackboard, into your grade book here, so you could follow along, and you could see how well you've done, okay? So you have that. Now, this major paper information, I want you to click on this. I'm not going to go into that. In here is going to be what your final paper is going to be due. There is no final exam. You're going to be doing the MyLab homework assignments, and you'll have you'll have like a 10 or 15 questions, and it follows along the book. So you read the book chapter, look at my concept map, look at my lecture, read the chapters, do the homework, follow step by step in your ebook or your hard copy book, and then you do the homework. If you get it wrong, the question wrong, you could do it the second time. You'll say wrong answer, try again, and then the second time. So I'll give you 2 tries on that on your homework. I didn't put a time limit on that. Usually I put a time limit since it's finance, and finance is the math portion. Some people pick it up real easy. Some have to look how to make the connection. Now, the MyLab homework, when you go into MyLab and you're doing the homework, you also on the top, you could go to the library. If you go to MyLab library, they have PowerPoints and slides that'll help you along. If you don't like my YouTube, explaining it, they'll do by certain sections. If you're doing something on net present value homework assignment, they'll have a YouTube just for that one area, that one concentration of the chapter or subchapter that you'll be working on. Utilize that. They also have pop quizzes and everything else that you could prepare. Okay, so you have that. That's what Blackboard collaborates, feedback, and that's about it. Okay, here's my finance lab video help information, students Excel solutions. I also have, some of the homework assignments will have an Excel portion. I didn't do too much. A lot of people aren't that familiar with Excel, and I'm not here to teach you Excel. I want you, if you're going to be going into finance or going for your bachelor's or going down for your master's, you better learn how to do Excel, because Excel is basically what's driving most of the finance numbers. You're all accounting, all your reports and everything else. It has an Excel base to it, even though it may be just a system for your electricity system for your company, but it's still Excel base driven. So you have to know how to create the formulas and everything else. The reason I throw in a couple of Excel ones in here is so that you could at least see how they set up the formulas, okay? So I got a couple of them, not too hard. All right, and then here's my lectures. I always have it in there. I have every chapter. You have my lectures in there that you could listen to. Okay, that's all. And then YouTube. Okay, so now for your final paper next week in the discussion, this week's discussion, you'll say how you're doing. You're gonna get just used to the classes. Like the first week orientation. Okay, here's my homework. Next week, you're gonna start thinking about you have to select a company for. There's no final exam. There's a final paper and a PowerPoint slide presentation that you'll be presenting. How you think you're going to turn this company around. You have to look at a company that has been going decline for the last 5 years, not just because of COVID-19 that happened. There are companies that are also going on the ready to go bankruptcy. You look at like Penny's, J.C. Penney's, Kmart, Sears was on the call. Target was, but they really did a real good come around on the way back. So there's a lot of companies. So I have YouTube here about 2019 companies closing. You could go into YouTube or search which companies within the last 5 years their stocks dropped 90%, 70%. That means they were up here like for about maybe $150. Now they're only selling it for $4 or $5. Something happened. That's the company. You're going to do a real quick research. You're going to look at the company. You're going to first select anything. I selected this company. I'll look at the company. If I think that company is not struggling, it doesn't meet those criteria, you're going to have to find another company. What you're going to do is you're going to do some research about the company, and you're going to see a baseline. You're going to see they're doing well, and all of a sudden they went down. Remember, in finance, you always have to have a baseline. Your baseline is going to be when that company started seeing a downward turn on investment. It means people are either selling stocks, and the stock's value, so the company's value, what you're going to learn in this class starts dropping. So that's going to be the company you're going to look at. Now you're going to have what recommendations they're doing, but you're going to come up after reading every chapter. You're going to be saying, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. For the paper is set up. Every chapter you read, the homework and discussion board will be building your final paper. So this way, when it comes at the end, you can say, here's what J.C. Penney's is doing. What I recommend in addition to that, as an independent consultant or financial advisor, they should also do this. And that's what you'll find out when you look at the paper. Don't freak out. This way, most people in my class will end up with a C, B, or an A. I favor more into B's and A's because the software and the way I got the test set up is more of a repetition for you to learn how to do the math. You're not going to be a financial expert out of this class. For some of you, remember, so you had accounting. Now it's taking all the accounting, which basically just gives me the data and gives me ratios and everything out. Now in finance, I'm looking at the data that I just acquired from accounting, and how do I turn that data around and using that data and make the adjustments. So now the value of the company goes up, my expenses go down, my revenue increases. So I have to know marketing, I have to know my production. All these areas all encompasses finance. Every part of the business is all about the money. Welcome to finance, okay? So we have that. 17 companies in trouble, 218. Now, some of these companies already, if they're bankrupt out, you can't select them. I'm a company that's still surviving, because then you'll have that intuition, and you're going to try to follow the company and say, hey, man, I see what they did, okay? So we have that. All right, so you'll have always the announcement, and my announcements will remind you the online orientation syllabus. Now, remember, let's go into here. So, let me go into the syllabi. I'm here already at 13 minutes. I usually have the orientation because people ask me questions. I already know the questions to ask for it, because a lot of times I'll do the same class here. I'll do it as a WebEx class, a face-to-face, a virtual WebEx class. That means it's they meet with me twice a week or once a week for 2 hours or 3 hours. This one's an anytime class, so there's no meeting. But they still run with the same thing, just that the values change a little more. Instead of discussion board, since we don't meet, the discussion board replaces that face-to-face interaction or the virtual interaction. So the points are worth more. So when you had the discussion, you reply to my question first. The first one is a real easy one. You reply to my question, and then you'll reply to 3 or 4 other students. At the beginning, you'll see everyone's students, like the intro. When we start going into and then when you pick companies, when we're picking next company, if somebody already picked J.C. Penney's, you have to find another company. You can't pick the same company, because as a whole, when we're going to be discussing everything else, even the discussion board, we learn as a collective. That's how you're going to learn in my class. Similar to when you do in a face-to-face or a virtual WebEx class that I will also teach. You notice I teach different platforms. It doesn't make a difference in the platform. You have the thirst, or you want to learn about finance, because you're going to need it going in a company. You're going to move up in a organization as a supervisor, as a middle manager, and maybe up as a company, or you're starting up your own company. It's all about the money. You have to understand the relationship. You're in sales marketing. You may not come up with the numbers, but you have to explain the numbers to other people. Okay? So now, I'm going to go into the syllabi. You click on here, and if you notice the syllabi, always check this date. 266 is the most current one. So if I have to update the syllabi because something happened, COVID-19, the school's closed, whatever, I will make some adjustments. Always look at the most current one, okay? I always got it as a PDF file, so it should pop up. Okay, so you always got my smiley face on here. You got the date. Remember, this isn't an 8-week class, this particular one. Sometimes I'll teach this one a 16-week, 12-week, 6-week. It doesn't make a difference. If I'm teaching in an 8-week, 12-week, or 6 weeks, I'm taking 16 weeks, I'm condensing it into an 8-week. You're going, oh, that's not fair, Dr. George, then take me for a 16-week class. You're getting the same credit as someone that's taken me for a 16-week class. They have a little more time to work on the homework. You have to know it right away. You signed up for the class. But some people don't want that long time. I need it now. I need it real quick. And most company courses are usually 8 weeks. You know, when I do any kind of training. Okay, so you got the name. Here's the only way you can get a hold of me is basically I'm strictly always online. I'm an online instructor. So if you need to meet me, send me an email. You have to tell me why I want to meet with you. What do you want to meet about? No, we just got to talk. No. You're going to say this, maybe it's a health issue, this right health issue. Or you may say this about my grade, about which grades are we talking, my exam. I have to know my time is as valuable as your time. In business, everything's about time. When you're talking to that customer service, that's why they try to answer your question quickly and effectively right off the bat. Because if she or he's on that phone for half an hour, that's a half an hour that I have to pay him and work it. It's finance. The same with my time. I'll make the time with you. I'm a contractor at the college. So if you call me up, say I got these grades, I don't agree with this or this chapter here, I will be prepared and I can use my time effectively. I have the material. So let me look that up and we'll have another meeting. That's not effective use of my time, not effective use of your time. We have to find the time. So when we have those meetings, you have to have a web camera and an audio so I know who I'm talking to. You can send me an email. I'll just give you some information back. But if anything with the grade, anything into more detail, you want to actually talk to me, it's a lot easier talking and look at the face-to-face. And then for community, just understand that's how that works, okay? So you can read all this. This is the book you need. You can buy the book either through the bookstore or you can buy it through the publisher. I've got the links on here if I ain't mistaken. And I think that the cost is $270 per current. Is with the loose it's like the loose leaf things. I got the hard copy for whatever reasons, the way they usually give it to instructors. But the new ones, you just don't have this. You just have it printed out. You got to buy your own cover. It keeps the cost back, and you also get the ebook and My Lab software. Or you could just buy it. I think it's for what was the other thing? For $149, you just get the ebook and the software, the access to do the My Lab homework assignment. Okay. You can read all that. I'm not going to read it to your adults. This is my terms and conditions. Remember, finance. Everything in finance is terms and conditions. Don't worry about the interest. That's just the hooks to get you in here. Okay? Got your withdrawal policy. But you have any problems with with Pearson things, you call them first and say, hey, I can't, the system's not running up. I can't log in. What's going on? You call them up. There's a number there. I think you gotta with Pearson's. You gotta send them an email, then they'll send you a number to call them. It's just the way they work. It's their scheduling system, and so you call them and you'll say the issue with Pearson's MyLab. They will basically then ask for an incident number. They will a lot of times be able to resolve it, 90%. If they can't resolve it, then you will send me an email. Say, I talked to Pearson, help desk. Here's the incident number or whatever reference number, I forgot what they call it, and they couldn't assist me. I will take that reference number and I'll push it up to my contact. He or she will basically look at it and resolve it and contact you. They will also contact that individual that handled the call and either give them additional training why they couldn't resolve it. It was something simple they should resolve, then they give back. That's how they do their quality control. If you call me and say, I got a problem with this, I don't want to do it, I'm asking you, call first, get the incident number. If it's a Blackboard issue, Blackboard is a course management system that Harper College has their own IT individuals. They just license the agreement out. If you took me for into business or some of the other classes, you understand that. But they license it out, but they have their own IT here. You could call the help desk at Harper and say, hey, I have a Blackboard issue. Again, they'll give you an incident number. Every time you get an incident number, they will send me an email saying, here's the issue. If it's an issue because of the system, Blackboard, or it's an issue because of the Pearson, I will make you whole. I'll either give an extension, depends on what the issue and what the point value is, or I'll adjust it. Mine is not to take advantage. Mine is to make this as stressless as possible. A lot of people, finance is not an easy class. Don't, you know what I mean? You're going to understand financial concepts and that. Don't worry about the math. I'll show you how that goes through, okay? You got your graded discussion board. The discussion board, it's worth 30 points, if I'm mistaken. You respond to me by Wednesday or Thursday. After you respond to me, sometimes you won't see anybody else to respond to me, then you'll see who else respond to me. Because what happens, especially if it's homework assignment, you will basically make some comment, and other people, they don't do no homework assignment, just read 5-6 other students' information, and then they kind of compile it, and they kind of make their own version of it and submit it. That's not how you learn. Trust me, I was an online student. I know the ways. Come on, I've been doing this for a long time, on both sides, okay? I have to take professional growth classes at a graduate level to keep my status up as an online instructor at Harper, another school I teach at. So I understand that, all right? There's no way around it. Okay, so does that kind of make sense? So you'll be all right on that. So then after you respond to me, that's worth half the points. You get 15 points. Up to 15 points. You write 2 or 3 sets, I'll give you 8 points, 5 points, 4 points out of 30. Then you have to respond to 3 or 4 other students within your class before Sunday. Not all on one day, because that's a download. You won't get the full points. I feel like you're being in a classroom talking to people, okay? All right, that's just everything. I'll just read all that. Okay, so here's how you're being graded. We have 8 classes, 8 weeks. Discussion boards were 30 points. Remember, I told you how that worked. You have My Finance Interact assignment. There's 24 of those worth 10 points each, sometimes 12 if they're easy, and sometimes 12 out of 10. I try to give you some extra points to help you out on there. So that's 240. I make it easy for you, man. So 23% of your grade is on your discussion board. You don't do that, you're already down at, let's see, 20%, you're at a C, okay? Now you're not that good at some of the homework. These are the homework. You already lost another 23%. Now there's 24 quizzes in my lab for every chapter, and that's another 23%. You see what I'm talking about? So right here, like it or not, whether you're taking me for face-to-face, you have to do all this work. This is like a class to make sure. It's like you're taking your basic. I teach you like a finite class once in a while. And basically, and they say, why? I only got to C. I'm so close to a B. You don't know the material. Remember, because if you got a B, that means you're at a higher level than a C student when you're taking accounting or finance. So it's like the building. So I can't give you an A in English or in math, and you can't add 3 and 3 together, or don't know how to divide or don't know fraction. You're not an A student, you're not a B student. A student means you know all this stuff and you can do the math. Remember, same thing with this finance class. This finance class will bring you into like cost accounting, other financial classes. It's an intro. So I want you to understand that. Don't worry about the math. I want you to understand the concept and the vocab, so you understand the connection. What's going on when I see this inventory turnaround? Terms of my inventory. Now remember, I teach retail merchandising. That's kind of nice. They want to know each month, so they call the same thing inventory turnover. They call it sell-through. They're looking at the same number to just adjust it for that individual. And that's what finance helps you. Accounting gives me the raw data. Finance says, okay, how can I use these numbers that make some sense to the individual who's looking at the numbers because they want to improve their standing. They want to improve their profitability. They want to improve or reduce their expenses. They want to see which programs work, which ones don't, because they're paying for it. And since it's paying for it, part of your job is to make sure that the money is utilized effectively. That's economics, isn't it? Okay. So you have that. Okay, so you have that. Other assessments, it's other kind of homework. I make you do stuff to give you some extra points, easy work, so it's not always all book reading and everything else. And remember, I'm condensing this particular class is 8 weeks. So I adjusted some numbers. You had me for 16 weeks. The numbers are changed a little bit, okay? Your final papers worth 120 and 120. I just made it so it's all 240. Even though if you look at some of my final papers, when you look at my YouTube orientation, I think I had on 175. For this class, I want to make it easier. So in your final paper, you're going to have a written document, and then you're going to use how you're going to present this. You've got the information, and then your PowerPoint slide presentation is worth 120 points, 11% of your grade. That there is to prepare you even in the corporate world. Some of you are taking me, you're an insurance company. Some of you are taking me, you're in the banking industry. Some of you are just taking me for finance. Some of you take me for finance because you need this finance class or other class for your CPA a requirement. So you'll be all right. Does that kind of make sense? So you see where I'm coming from? So when I'm looking at this, I'm trying to help you out. So the paper, so when you do that slide show presentation, you are just giving me the highlights why you think this company is going to turn around, or you think we should just sell off this company. It's dead in the water. There's no way. You have to justify it. Usually in the 16-week class and some of the other classes when I'm working in teams, you would have to give me 3 or 4 different alternatives. I'm only asking for one in this one since it's a 12-week class here. All right? Are we good on this? So remember, no final exam. Okay, so you have that. Here's your week 1. You got my overview. Okay, so now I'm going to stop this. I'm going to drop this one. Oops. Darn it. Hang on a second. Okay, I just hit the pause because I thought it dropped out. So you have that. Now the other thing I want to go, remember, you could have all this. For those of you who online's all new for you, I do one-stop shopping. Right? Everything you could do in here, go directly if you want to work ahead. But here's for the week. I'm in the student mode. You come in here, you only see week 1. So if I click on week 1, you have the introduction. I gave you a full 30 point just to get to know you. So you're going to say, hey, I'm George. I'm from Chicago. I know finance. I don't know finance. I'm worried. I'm scared. Whatever the heck. In the subject area, put something in there so other people will connect to you. Oh, I'm worried too. Let me see what, maybe I can connect with this individual. I teach business. If you look at my my faculty information, all my background is basically in business. So business is all networking, finance, networking. Who do I know? How do I get information? How do I use someone as a sounding board? Okay, all right? So you have that, and if you never, remember it's late start, so you click on there, you answer the question, and you create the thread, and then you that's to me, you'll see everyone else's respond to 3. Don't wait till someone responds to you. Once there's somebody on there, you start responding. You have to be the initiator, the self-starter. That's what they're looking for in business, okay? All right, so I've got that. Now I'm back in here for some reason. Oh, because I'm in the student board. Let me go back into my weekly folders. Okay, week 1. So I've got that. Here's my finance lab and homework. Okay, so when I click on this one, let's see how it does in the student. It's going to bring me in here, all finance and homework assignments. I could go in here. And I think the first one, I don't know if it's got me paired as an instructor, because sometimes it just messes it up. Or it's putting me into registration. So here, I put in the access code. You could use a credit card. I think it's 109 students for financial lab with e-tech. Hey, that's even cheaper. Student financial lab with corporate. This one I think is just no book. All right. So if you have a book, I would go. This is not a bad deal. All right. So you have that. All right. Or you could get a temporary access code for 14 days. That'll just to help you. So if you don't have the money on either of this, after 14 days, you do the homework. After 14 days, anything is sent to Blackboard, it just says 0 F. It doesn't no longer I can access that information. So like you didn't do it until you pay them, and then those if you did in 14 days, it's 2 weeks. So you'd be in week 2. All that homework assignment you had done. Okay, so are we all right? And the first time you put in an access code is paired, you can do the homework. Okay, so let me get out of here. Close that one, and I get out of that one. Okay, so now we have that. You got your homework. Let me go back to my weekly assignments. See what else we have. In here, you always have chapter 1 handout. My mind maps, my concept maps, my PowerPoints, my YouTubes are in here. Here's chapter 2. Here's how to do the access code. Pearson has it. I walk it through. Here's the link to the bookstore. So if I click on this one as a student, here is my mind map. Now remember, this is a YouTube, and this was in 2000, so I updated some of it. It tells you everything else here. This is an introduction to the book. Okay, so if I look at my concept map, when I look at my concept map, this one just tells me why study finance. This is chapter 1. It's just, so we had all this into the business. You add on, this is your vocab. Does that make sense? I have in here, let me see in here if I could bring it out here. Concept map. Now this is an overview for the chapter view, 100%. Okay, so if I look at this is what we're going to be talking about. This chapter, my own introduction that I have in here. Okay, part 1. We're going to chapter 1, corporate finance. Chapter 2 is into the financial statement. Everything you had accounting 1 and accounting 2. It's real easy. That's why there's a lot of stuff. It should be a refresher for many. Okay, part 2, cash flow, time value of money, interest rates, bonds. You're going to be doing math homework. You're going to be doing through my lab homework. But the discussion board is for you to understand the concepts and the terminology. Within the discussion, you give me a paragraph at least, or you answer my question. Use some of the concept and terminology. You have it. I'll explain a little bit later. Here's part 3, chapter 8, investment. Fundamentals of capital budgeting. All these you'll be building towards your paper. Stock valuation, risk and return in capital, systematic risk and equity. Remember, systematic risk across the board. COVID-19 hit everyone. That's what they make you think. The large corporations didn't get as hit as the smaller business. I work with small business a lot also now after I left the corporate world. The small businesses really got hammered, because they couldn't close, they couldn't open, they were an essential. Walmart, all that other stuff. This is the same thing my small business does. But I'm not essential. I'm not average. It's just the way it works. Small businesses did survive. They're very flexible. They had to cut on their expenses, but they knew how to work around them. You can't kill those little small businesses. We're survivors. We're creators. We're entrepreneurs. And that same spirit is what they want in a corporate. A lot of people go, they want to do small business. You want to be corporate, a lot of more money, financials. You can move around more. Fine, that doesn't bother me. Remember, a lot of small business start off as they get bigger. They start off with using QuickBooks. For lack of better words, if you can do anything with, if you're accounting, do anything, small business, get QuickBooks, gives you everything you need. It has all your functionality for a small business. As the business grows, then you go to Peachtree. It's just the next thing. It's still the same thing. You just have more money, you have more functions. You have more write-off. So it's set up. It's larger. It's like I do my taxes as an individual. It's simple. If I do my taxes as a business, I have to get a different software because I have more expenses. I have more deductions. I have more ways that I could keep my money because it's part of my business. I have more contractual agreements, more financial streams of income coming in. All right, risk and return. The whole thing about finance is risk. Cost of capital. Do I use the money now? Take a loan out or credit or later. Right now, inflation is going up. Or you like, and this will be good for a couple of years. Biden's in here. Like Biden or not, I don't really care. It doesn't make a difference. Same numbers, the highest in 40 years. Inflation, what does that mean? Oh, the cost of goods means. All inflation means my fiat dollar that means nothing. My make-believe dollar is basically devaluing. I need more of these fiat paper dollars, make-believe. Because remember, what you're going to learn in finance, that you should have picked up in Intro to Business. What's our dollar, the U.S. dollar, backed by? It's backed by, in God we trust. It's backed by nothing. It's backed by our output. Right now, before Trump left, when Trump left, we at least had 90% to pay off more of our debt, taxes, Social Security, student loans, whatever is our debt. We had 10% that the government still could utilize to do new activity. Now with this inflation, it means that value is down. We probably just lost that right away. We are more, it's like you have more debt and you can't pay my debt. And that's when you start going to the default. Or you go into bankruptcy, or you go the Great Reset. We'll talk about that. Now in finance here, remember this one doesn't talk about, but I will talk about cryptocurrency. I'll talk about a wallet, the different wallets, the digital currency, the bag. There's other cryptocurrencies that the wallet's controlled by I can't damn, I can't think of the person. It's like a financial institution. It's basically just controlling the wallet. It's an institutional wallet. Then you have your private wallet. I mean, you have it on your flash drive. You control it. That's all part of finance. Is changing now. Why does the government like it? Why doesn't it like it? All right. How do I do for a business? Should I start accepting cryptocurrency in my financial, as a part of selling some of my product? Maybe yes, accept cryptocurrency that's a digital cryptocurrency, or someone that is a caretaker of that digital currency, or that wallet, what they call. Okay, all right. And then you have debt financing, equity. Right now, a lot of people are in debt. How do I just do it for equity? What do you like the Trump administration? I remember, I'm a finance person. I got to see what's happening, what's coming on. You get the midterm. Are the conservatives coming up? Is things going to change? So if I look at with the Trump, they're trying to get rid of the debt and start going capital. If you don't have the money, don't build it. And that's a different mindset. So things are changing. You know what I mean? All right, so this is an interesting time. I think this is perfect. Okay, financial forecasting. I forecast in the future. How the heck do I know it's the future? It used to be 10, 15 years. Now, if I could forecast close enough for 3 years, I am lucky. If you look behind there, I have a crystal ball. I'm just kidding. It was given to me when I was in the office. But it basically is in there. Tell me what the interest rate's going to be. Tell me what stock. I'm kidding. What you're going to do with your research and everything else, you're going to look at trends. You're going to look at historical trends. You're going to look at current trends. You're going to make some assumptions. You're going to see what other people make an assumption. And then you take all this information and you're going to have to see what you think works with your organization or the company that you're going to be doing for your final project. Okay? And a special topic, mergers, acquisitions, international corporation. We talked about no loyalty to nothing, to nobody, to no country. You look at the whole world, it's a flat economic system. If it's U.S. is going down, they'll go to Canada. Canada's going down, go to China. Venezuela down, they'll go to Mexico. They don't care. Because they can move their money around. And we'll talk about how companies basically lend to other subsidiaries, maybe to avoid taxes, maybe to get a better interest rate, or maybe because the currency is not so strong and utilize a different currency. Okay? Are we good? And applications in corporate finance. So that takes care of that. I'll close that off. Okay, so now we have everything you needed. So now when you come in here, I'm going to get out of this, exit this view. I still have a few more minutes. Remember, just like an orientation. Normally my orientation would be an hour and a half. It would be a web orientation. But since this is any line time, I try to cover everything that's in that orientation so at least you know it's here. Because down the road, you say, I didn't understand that. I didn't know that. I said, you look at the orientation. When you click on the orientation, it tells me who viewed it and how long. Welcome to my world, technology. So I'm going to exit this world. Now I'm in the instructor's view. So if you instructor's view, if I look at the weekly assignments, I have them all out here. Do you see what I'm talking about? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into my finance lab. Let's go into week 1. I'll go this way. I'm going to come into week 1, and this is your homework. So you're going to come into my finance lab. Remember, you go to the registration. Now, I want you to understand 2 ways. This stuff is here. You don't see, but you have your financial assignment, my lab course homework, Pearson, student support, and then help, register, get questions, Pearson's announcements. Okay, so I will, let's see, so if you go to my finance assignments, it's set up the 2 ways. If you just go into the homework, you're just going to see the homework and not the quizzes. If you go into the quizzes, because that's the way Pearson works, you can do all the quizzes. Now you could do your homework and quizzes if you just hit all the assignments. So if I hit on all my assignments here, it should pop up. These are all the assignments that you have coming out here, that I do. That I have open with some due dates on here. Okay, oh, I went by the chapters. Okay, here, all the assignments. Well, maybe those are just the ones that I have open. Remember, because Pearson's is only showing me the one I have open. Okay, so I'm going to close that off. Let's go on this one, the home one. Okay, so when you click on your home base, you've got your grades. This is Pearson. Here's the homework assignment. This is what's due for this week. Okay, you have news. You have your assignments. You have your study plan. You have results. This is your Pearson's e-textbook that you'll be able to see the book. Okay, access your textbook. Multi-library. If you go to multi-library, remember this is all in your section. You could go. Let's go to chapter 1. Let's go on bonds, and then I select all and. See, when I select all, it's going to find everything I have here. So here's what I have. I have on bond calculator. You don't need a calculator for this class. Remember, it has the electronic calculator. If you're going to use a calculator, I forgot where I had mine. I lost it. I've got this one as the AI. I got a financial calculator someplace. I'll show it to you later on. Lost in action on my desk. But anyway, you could get a financial calculator, or you could use this calculator. If you're using an what do you call it for last the regular TI calculator, a lot of times you can't take this calculator into an exam. If you're doing any kind of financial exam, you could take the financial calculator. I'm sorry, but it's just is a BA. It's a financial calculator. That one has all the formulas, everything in there, so you don't have to worry about the time value. Just hit the time value formula, and you just put the numbers in there, and you'll come up with the answer. It also has a spreadsheet. It's if you're going to be a finance major, I would take that up. Okay, so you got your financial calculator. Okay, so you have that. You have this tutorial bond semi-interest. You have how to use the calculator on there, example of yields. These are all videos. So if you have the problem you're doing, the work, remember, when you're doing the homework, each question I give you 2 tries. You don't get it right, try it again. You don't understand it, look at the video, because it's tied into 6.1, 6.2, 6.7, whatever areas. I think I just went, since it's an intro class, I think I just went like 6.6. I did cover some of the other ones back and forth, depending on the subject area. Okay, but you have all that information. You have an annuity calculator, and then you have just a spreadsheet. Those that are used to spreadsheets, you don't have to create it. You got the template, and it basically will open it up. I'm not doing it now. It'll open up Excel. Now remember, Excel, Microsoft Office 365 is free to the students at Harper College. Not really free, it's part of your tuition, your student activity. Utilize that. You could get it to, I think, to 3 or 4 devices on your smartphone if you have the capability, the larger one, on your iTablet, on your iPad, on your desktop, on your laptop. I have 3 or 4. I don't even buy the software. It gives you Excel, it gives you Microsoft Word, it gives you PowerPoint, it gives you access to just the data. All those are the ones that you need in business. You're going to go in business. This might as well have it, and so you at least are familiar. I know a lot of students like using Google Docs, Google Slides. That's good because it's free. Now you have in business we utilize Microsoft Office, because if I change anything in an Excel spreadsheet, it'll change it in my PowerPoint, it'll change in my Word document. Once I make the link, it's complete. It's a one document, so I don't have to go 20 pages, change it, does the updates very well. Okay? So you have that. You have your financial calculator. Now they got different financial calculator. This is the one I'm talking about, the TA financial calculator. The 10, you have the ITBA 2 financial tutorials had up there. This is the one that I like using. This is the one that lets you take even for CPA exams or into, for lack of a better word, into any of the other exams. And the reason they don't let you take the other ones, the calculator, scientific calculator, because you could put all the formulas in there. You could put up, I'm just letting you know what's available. You got your chapter resources, flashcards, everything else in here for each chapter. So utilize them, trends, Excel spreadsheet, animations that talks about it, financial tutorials. So if you have a problem, it says financial calculator, use the financial calculator. You have the problem, it says use the chart. You have to use the chart. I did not calculate. It's going to give you the wrong number because the chart rounds off. The calculator may round off by 1 decimal. The chart rounds off a little tighter or wider. I can't forget. So the numbers are. They want you to learn how to use the chart and use the calculator, use the spreadsheet. That's my thing on here. Okay, so I'm going to close that off. All right, are we good? So then everything is in here. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to this class. Oh, one last thing. Let me do on this mind map. When I looked at the mind map, I think I have it. Hang on. I've got it for the chapter. I got one more minute. For some reason, not opening. No. I just open up like chapter 9. Hang on. Okay. So if I do on this, you see every time you have a plus here, a plus means there's more information. So if I had on this, I'm talking about forecast in your thing, and you just see a plus, like if I would have it here plus, that basically tells me you're going to only get the first and second tier. I'm not giving you the full tier. That's for you to read the book chapter. It's like a different way of taking notes. Instead of going this way, you set up in a PDF file, 2 sheets, put a tape together, and you say, okay, matching principles, seasonality, and you write in your own words. If you notice on all this, I don't use full sentences, just the main points so you remember it. So when you're doing studying or doing for an exam, you just remember. Your mind has it. They'll put in all the adjectives, pronouns, connectors, everything you do in the full sentences, but you just need the key components of it. Okay? All right. So I got that turned off. Okay, we've got that. And I think if I'm mistaken, we should be done now. I have everything else. All right. So again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. Let me go back into my, I must have turned myself off, PowerPoint. Oh, here we go. All right, I'm back into this. We're done on this. All right, so what I could say is, let me just leave it at least with the syllabi. Look at the syllabi. You have all the information you need on here, and you'll do pretty good. This one here is just some information I had. All right, so again, welcome to this orientation. Go back into Blackboard, look around in Blackboard, play around, go into weekly announcement, look at this you already finished this orientation, go play around. I'll open up the week before. The class starts from Monday to Sundays. I lock it up, and if you don't do it in time, one thing I forgot to tell you, when you're doing the quizzes, and the quizzes, you have 2 tries, but you have to do it in the same setting. I don't think I put a timer on at the beginning. Halfway through, you'll have like 60 minutes for each setting of the quiz. At the beginning, I left it open because I know math people are freaking out with math and everything else. So this way, you could take your time. I want you to learn the material. You're not going to learn it all. There's a lot of information. What I'm looking at out of this class is that you have a solid foundation. You understand the concepts, the vocab. You know how they connect. You do a written assignment. You're going to follow the rules, put everything else in, and then you'll do the PowerPoint presentation, the written assignment for the company you're going to select. Remember, you're going to think of a company in the last 5 years, it's going down, not coming up, and they're trying to save it. And now you're going to add in more to what they're doing after you do the research and see what they did. But you got to identify what happened, when in the downturn, why didn't it react quick enough. And that's where finance comes in. Someone didn't make the decision or give the money to bring the company around. We're sinking. We got to plug it up. We got to change the direction. We need a new float. That means an extra or float of finances to get the company back on track. And then someone missed the ball on that. So you're going to come up with that. Then you got all this data. How do you present this to a person who may be other investors or the stockholders that may not be so in tune into finance? So your presentation is a little different than your raw data you're writing to. I present, I convince people, hey, now I understand what you're doing. I go in and look at the document. That's how this is going. All right. So here's your points. It's all workable. Remember, everything's broken down easy for you. Almost 25% for every activity. So you know what to do, and you'll do pretty good on that. Again, most people do well. Don't freak out. Don't do everything at the end. Open it up, get the book, get the passcode, and then you'll see it's not too bad of a thing. The discussion boards, remember, you respond to me by Wednesday, Thursday, and then to 3 others to get the full points. That replaces the discussion in a face-to-face class, no exam. So the way I would do it, you have chapter, I think in the second week you have chapter 3 and 4. You do your homework and at my lab, you read a book, look at the YouTubes and everything else, print out my mind map. You'll do the homework, and then you do the quiz. Then you do the chapter 4, homework, quiz, the same scenario. Print it out, and that's how you'll be able to do it and do the discussion board. Discussion boards are going to be building up for your final project. Again, welcome to this class, and you'll enjoy it. And even if you're watching this video and it's a couple years behind, nothing changes. That means the points may change a little, but the same mechanism, the same structure, the same requirements are there. So you'll have the gist of what to look at. You'll just see that the points change. Just like inflation. The same product line, the stores, everything there, just to the pricing went up a little more. The pricing went up because it's inflation. It's really, inflation is just a nice way of hiding devaluation of your currency. Cryptocurrency is something I would start looking at and start getting familiar. I don't tell you have to buy it, but start looking at it. I'm just going to touch on it since it's not part of the book. It's outside, but I just want to bring it in. Some people, I would do a disservice if I didn't mention it. Again, my name's Dr. George Mochocki, and I'll see you in the discussion that usually will start whenever the first day of class is. Bye. 51 minutes. Not too bad.